This episode of the Durian Pod is brought to you by Hexclad, official cookware partner of TDP.
And this episode of the Durian Pod,
I got little opportunities to play at the club, you know, from 8 to 8:30. Oh my gosh, you know, like very cool.
Let's go.
Let's go. So I was just like, ladies' night was like such a thing before. Like, oh, we're gonna have an all-female lineup. It was a marketing thing.
Oh.
No, like we're not doing that. And as soon as I could have my own party, I'm booking all my friends. I'm never going to talk about the fact that they're girls. They're just going to come in and they're going to crush it.
Yeah.
That'll be that until it's normal. It was really hard for a really long time. Such a hard time really consolidating those two things for me within. How about you guys?
wow. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
You're gonna have to just do it from there.
We got you. What's good, everyone? My name is David.
And I'm Jasper.
And behind the camera, we have our wonderful Heidi.
Hi.
And this is the Durian Pod. This is the show where we showcase our friends who fought against societal standards, but still made it to the top. Today is a special episode. If you don't know me, I love music, and our guest today actually inspired me, and it was one of the reasons why I picked up my first set of decks. So without further ado, let's bring on singer, songwriter, most known for her EP Garden and Priority. She's a co-founder of the infamous 143 R&B Party, which helped pioneer the R&B sound back to the masses. She's an internationally known DJ, gracing stages with the likes of Selection and Boiler Room. And now she's doing her thing as a host for 143 Radio. So let's show some love to the legendary SOSUPERSAM.
Wow. Thank you so much. What?
Yes. That was all true, right?
Was the first part true?
Yes. So, a little bit, if you know me, I love R&B music. I'm actually
so.
39, so I grew up in the era.
Me too.
Yeah, and the way you guys, I mean, we'll get into a little bit more, but the way you, 143, curated just music that was supposed to be sexy and slow and maybe for just like a restaurant or maybe in the bedroom and to get people to dance to it. Very inspiring.
Very
and
cool.
That, yeah, it like also COVID helped, but bought my first pair of decks and been spinning R&B, hip hop ever since. So thank you.
Stop it.
It's true. So thank you.
That is so cool. Yeah. You're welcome. That's really cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
okay. Yay.
How are you feeling?
I feel very good. I feel very peaceful inside.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm good. This is our first podcast of the year,
Yes.
2024. We're super excited, especially to have you.
Yeah.
What a way to kick it off.
This is so cool. How are you, Jasper?
Good. I think better. 2023 was definitely very difficult for us. We were doing a lot of transition, but this year walking in and, head down, getting things done. And
Let's talk about transitions. That was
Everything.
a big theme for me last year as well. Transitional year.
really,
Yeah. It's like you don't really see, maybe the public or on the surface, people don't see what's going on, but there's a lot of work going on underneath the surface. You're making powerful, foundational, transitional moves.
absolutely.
And setting up a framework for what maybe will blossom this year for all of us.
I hope so.
That's always the
I
hope.
think we got this.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. Wow.
so,
Okay.
too.
Maybe 2023 was a big transition year for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think it's time for us to double down then, right?
Well, maybe this year is about a harvest. Maybe we were planting last year. Maybe we were, what is it called? Like when you,
When you're sowing the
yeah, you're
seeds?
sowing seeds. You're like tilling the soil.
Yeah.
Not that glamorous, but it's harvest gonna come.
Got
So
it.
maybe this is our year of harvest. Anyways,
I love that. No, I love that. That's the energy that we're looking for, right? Is
Yeah.
like when you put the hard work in, when do you actually get to sow the seeds and whether or not people actually see it, right?
Exactly.
Right. Social media always kind of gives you one portrayal of how things look like. And I had a lot of friends tell me last year, like, your life looked perfect last year. What are you talking about? And like, it was far from it.
Yes. Or you just didn't see it. I feel like my body of work of last year was all inside or behind the scenes. It wasn't something that needed to be amplified to the masses. It was all inside. And sometimes it feels like, I remember ending the year a couple of weeks ago, thinking like, oh, what do I actually have to show for? And it's like the product of my work is all within. It's not anything that anyone will see with the, the naked eye. So maybe that was for you too. I don't know.
Wow.
I love that. And
What do you
speaking
think?
of going within, I think it's time to actually have some food inside as well.
I
Does
want
that
to
sound
put
about
food within.
Yeah, so
Let's get food
Chef
within.
I heard you're a foodie, some sorts.
I love to eat.
Okay,
I eat
perfect.
every day.
Chef Jasper has curated this beautiful tasting for you. So buckle
so
up.
Excited. Buckle up, baby. Do
we're
we get
ready
a
to go.
blowtorch on this episode? I've seen some blowtorches.
If you ask for it, we'll
Sparklers.
deliver it. Sure.
Do we get
Do you want
sparklers?
Actually, there is going to be a little fire.
Yeah, there's going to be fire today.
Okay,
Give it the
yes.
fire.
I
Yes.
didn't write that down. I should have asked for fire, but I think you know me
Yes.
well enough to prepare some
I think
fire.
so.
for me.
There's a lot of unspoken connection, and I think I understand what you're looking for. So,
Okay, great.
so Sam, welcome to, this is where we actually have Roslyn, our supper
Okay.
club. It's a private dining experience, and I know you haven't had the chance of dining with us.
Not yet.
So I wanted to showcase to you what we really do. And here on the show, we actually split it up with just 3 courses.
Okay.
And the first dish is going to be the Amuse bouche. It's usually a very small, bright, acidic, light, exciting kind of dish to kind of get your palate going.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go ahead and prepare that, and I'll be right back with your first course.
Okay. Exciting.
Yeah,
We hungry.
yeah, we are.
We hungry.
I'm actually very hungry.
Okay, perfect. I will move quickly. I will move quickly. Sam, your first
Okay.
course, actually the entire meal that we're having today is actually everything that we've learned about you and things that we wanted to kind of showcase.
Okay.
Your first course is going to be an ocean trout tartare. So ocean trout, we call it here at Roslyn the sexier sister of salmon because she's a little thicker, she's fattier, and she's flakier as well.
She's like the problematic friend.
Yes, the
Okay.
tartare is then sliced up and tossed in our yuzu marmalade ponzu that we make from scratch with a little bit of like fresh yuzu, and it's been jammed.
Okay.
We finish it off with a little bit of spicy garlic chili oil and then some sexy scallions to bring it all together for aromatic.
Love
So
a good scallion.
yes, so please enjoy, guys, and first meal of the durian pod this year.
First
Let's
meal.
do it.
Let's go.
Ribbons of
Cheers.
scallion.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Wow.
I'm struggling a little. Hold on.
It's very refreshing.
Yeah.
That's the idea. Wanted the ocean trout to shine because of the beautiful oils in there.
Yeah.
The herbaceousness of the scallion should kind of bring out almost like a spice note. It's almost inspired like kind of like wasabi in the back, but it's not.
It's very savory, but also very light at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's the goal, right? The Amuse is always supposed to be a little bit like lighter, and usually it's supposed to be a one biter, but because we do a 3-course tasting here, might as well give you like a full appetizer course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
we
you.
call it the giant Amuse,
Yeah.
right? Or big boy Amuse.
So Sam, you are LA native.
Yes.
Tell us about your upbringing. What was that like?
I grew up in Culver City, California, which is today renowned as a destination in Los Angeles for
It is.
foodies and techies and creatives and architects and of course the entertainment industry. But when I was growing up, it was just sort of this like anonymous place. It was a little suburb in the middle of a big city, and I grew up around a lot of family. I have so many cousins. I'm Filipino American, and as it were, we just had tons of family parties. I grew up singing and dancing at these family parties, and that sort of inspired a lot of what I do today. Just that feeling of gathering with your friends and family, people you call family who you're not related to, and just quickly making a vibe through food, through dancing, through singing. Very big into R&B growing up. So just a lot of like pagers and it was just really a really beautiful time. I look back on my childhood in LA so fondly because it's just all those feels, like being a mall rat and like bopping around between your Catholic church,
The simpler times.
parish festivities and your dance rehearsals, and just a beautiful time. I do feel like it lended a lot of inspiration to who I am now, what I do now. And I call back to that time a lot. 90s LA, SoCal, Filipino.
Yeah.
Just a glorious time.
That was a vibe.
It's a vibe. It's a whole vibe. It's a whole vibe. Yeah, I carry it.
I know Filipinos, like my Filipino friends, they have really close-knit families and rather large families.
Yeah.
I know Vietnamese, I'm Vietnamese.
You're Vietnamese, okay.
And he's Chinese, and Heidi, she's Chinese as well. But we had a lot of kind of expectations from our parents of what to do and how to steer and navigate our future. Was that something similar that you experienced?
Yes, 100%. I think that my parents did their best. They were immigrants. They wanted to set me up for the best possible life in America. And that meant at that time, really solid, good grades. Don't fuck around. We need good grades from you. We need you to land some sort of very, very stable job with health insurance. My mom would not, to this day, she will not let me exist without health insurance. So that was like a big thing for her.
Wait, like having health insurance?
Having health
okay.
insurance.
Got it.
She
Like
would,
PPO.
yeah, she won't let me
It's like the safety net.
function.
It's a mom thing.
It is a mom
my
thing,
mom's
and
the same way.
I get it. And I think for as vibey and as creative as my family life was and my extracurriculars were, there was no possibility of transferring that into some sort of lucrative professional career. So I grew up in this very big dichotomy of academia and creative pursuits. I always danced. I always performed. I was in anything that could be on the stage. I was part of it. And my mom was like, yes, like she was momager, like, stage mom, like, let's go. Yeah. But also like, this will never turn into a job. So perform at the family parties, but you will do well in school. You will enroll in a 4-year university and you will become a legal secretary. Like that was her biggest dream for me. She was like, yes.
Secretary?
Yeah. She was like, you will become a legal secretary. And that's like just the most stable job you could ever land. And that's what I aspire for you to be after you graduate from university. And that was it. And there wasn't any room.
Yeah.
I feel like I spent a lot of my, 20s, like just post-college, just really grappling and like straddling this, like these two very big ideas of like, I really want to dance. I've been dancing since I was 3.
Yeah.
And also this, like, I have a degree in economics. I have an internship at Morgan Stanley. Why am I not happy? Or why is this not fulfilling for me? Mm-hmm. It was really hard for a really long time. I had just such a hard time really consolidating those two things for me within. How about you guys?
Wow.
Please directing it on us.
We'll go round table real quick.
No, that's a tough scenario only because like you're driven by, you want to make your parents happy and you do what you can, but while you're doing that on the outside, there's this internal thing saying like, well, I'm not happy. Like, you're kind of fighting against yourself. Like you said.
Even externally, there was no realm of possibility. Now you can grow up. Like I have a daughter and she like watches Olivia Rodrigo, like half Filipino, half American, like singer, songwriter. She can watch very clear videos of a person who is exactly her race and makeup, succeeding and like playing instruments and succeeding. Like I don't think we really had that. So it came from our parents, but also like society at large. It was like, oh, there's no room for this.
That's true
like,
too, yeah.
That's not a thing that I do or will ever do. I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you, Jasper?
I love this roundtable. So this is a good dynamic. It's like right on the spot. I actually had a very similar upbringing to you in the sense of like my first job was at Merrill Lynch as an intern.
Yes. I was
Finance.
Morgan Stanley.
I know. MS. Now poor Bamel's gone. So Merrill Lynch was my first job. My parents expected me to become a lawyer.
Sure.
And so I guess similar to a legal secretary.
You guys could have worked
We
together.
could have been coworkers.
We could have been coworkers, yep. And ended up working in finance and then tech out of college.
Yeah.
Moved around all the time. New York, SF, Hong Kong a little bit. Came back to LA always. My last job was in SF. And it was a fintech company, and got quarantined here and started cooking.
No way. So
Yeah.
is that recent for you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Last three years or so.
Did you go to school for culinary?
No.
Okay.
It's hard for me to say because like I never went to like CIA or any of those like
Yeah.
schools, but I was very lucky where I got quarantined with a bunch of chefs.
oh, that's amazing.
And that's because I used to go out and eat. Like all of us here are foodies, but I was like a hardcore foodie. Like, you
Okay.
have a tech budget, you're able to spend
yes.
that type of money on
yeah,
food.
for sure.
And so I would like 7 days a week be going out to my favorite restaurants
What
here in
were
LA.
your like top? What
the
was
time?
in your rotation at the time?
At the time was Vespertine, Auburn,
Okay.
RIP. Mansky came up. I just don't remember when I used to go there.
Uh-huh.
Really big fan of that. Your Bavel Bestillas, of course. Bestia, not so much anymore. Back in the day.
Is that on the
Sorry, I didn't mean
record?
that's on the record, actually. I don't think it's exciting anymore. The menu hasn't changed in
Sure.
a decade. And then when Girl and the Goat came here, I was
Okay.
very excited.
I still haven't gone, but it's
We
right
should
across.
go?
So let's
Oh.
go.
One of our chefs he's actually one of our Filipino fellow people. Christian, Chef Christian, what's up? He's actually the current CDC over there.
Oh, amazing.
And so he's running the new food flavors that Chef Stephanie is pushing there, and absolutely love it. So
All of this is a product of quarantine, just deep dive
yeah,
chefism.
yeah, all the pans are from Chefism.
So amazing.
Yeah, this kitchen did not look like this before.
No
none of this stuff
way.
was here. Even the racks for holding the pans and the stove tops and whatnot.
Did you always have this large table?
No, so it was a smaller table that was fit for 8. I've always been a big fan of like hosting because
Yeah.
I'm unlike you guys. Like I had a very small family. My mom and dad were literally just me, them, and then my 2 sisters,
Okay.
and no other familial units in the United States.
Okay.
So I've always wanted like a larger family. So there's this
Yeah.
kind of like internal like desire to host.
Okay.
And so I had a table for 8 here, would always have friends over, could not cook for shit though.
You could not cook for shit.
No, I have friends on the record that will go, like even our mutual friend JoJo will say that I couldn't cook.
Oh,
'cause
I remember- she did say that.
burned, I burned every dish I tried to make in the beginning.
Yes.
Just could not do it.
What was the first dish that you tried to make?
Tried to make or like what I was taught.
Okay, taught.
Okay, first dish I was ever taught was Duck Confit.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chef Andrew and Chef Gabe, who became my 2 first mentors, they went out of their way to show me the basics of like French cuisine and the mise en place and how to execute with duck.
Yeah.
And I've always loved duck as a Canto boy because you eat roast duck, right?
Right. Exactly.
So that was the first dish I ever learned, and they
So
showed
you're a
me
duck
things.
guy.
I love duck.
I am too.
Yeah.
Okay.
You also are a duck guy?
I'm a duck guy. Yeah. Wow.
I love it, yeah.
Okay. So duck confit.
So we'll
okay.
just have to do like a duck. So now this is gonna be 3 courses that we're doing for you, Sam. Is like
Yeah.
duck everything.
Let's just do a Sam menu.
Yeah, the Sam menu.
Okay.
We'll do it. We'll make it happen. We'll put it with the great R&B vibes that we already play here
Yeah.
at Roslyn, but then take it like one step further.
Perfect.
Love it. But yeah, that's the TLDR.
I'm learning so much. This is so inspiring.
Yeah. But let's talk about you though.
Oh, sure,
The
yeah.
viewers don't care about us. Like, we're here for Super Sam.
So obviously, you're a successful DJ. When you obviously, as you may know, what was that point? What was that moment when you kind of fell in love with that? Was it? I know you said you had family members that were kind of into music, but was it like a particular song or a gig that you did, or like was it like a intimate moment that you had with one of those family members? What kind of like pushed you over the edge? And you're like, you know what, I'm gonna do this.
I think, well, growing up in the 90s, there wasn't a lot of access to DJ stuff. It was very, the buy-in was high, much higher than it is now. Also, just even accessing how to DJ was a lot more difficult back then. But I did grow up around a lot of DJs, whether it was like my cousin who lived behind our house. He was the manager of the Beat Junkies. So I grew up around turntablists and seeing the best of the best, the pioneers of the sport, as it were, doing their thing as a very young person. And I was just like, this is mind blowing. I want to do this one day when I have any type of money, you know, and then it sort of evolved into like the guys I dated in high school. Like I was like, oh, the DJ, like, ooh, he's learning how to spin and I love to dance. So like, let's party, you know? So I was always surrounded by DJing. It was always familiar to me. And I did always have in the back of my mind, you know, I want to be a DJ one day. And, you know, we were talking about career, you know, dibble dabbling. And I went from interning at Morgan Stanley to telling my mom I'm not going to apply for jobs after college. I'm going to become a backup dancer. I'm going to audition for an agency. And I became a backup dancer. And then that was like the burnout from having a creative job. I didn't have the skills to like sustain a creative job because I was like, well, I must go to an office and I must get a 401k. Otherwise, what am I doing? You know, this is not substantiated in any meaningful way or any productive way. And so I left my dance career and I went into advertising. And I had a lovely like middle management advertising job that afforded me enough money to buy turntables. And so that was how I like started DJing as like a creative outlet to my now 9-to-5, you know, other side of the coin job. And
That was kind of like the middle ground.
yes, yeah. And I was like, well, I'm so bored. I'll just make a blog and start DJing. Like those will be my things. It was 200008. And I was like, okay. Yeah, like Blogspot, yeah.
Zanga, maybe?
Zanga, I had it all, baby. Yeah, I had a Blogspot and I got turntables. And I, you know, tapped on my cousin. I was like, what am I, you know, show me how. The guys I dated, hey, remember me? We dated in high school. I want to learn how to DJ. What do I do with these things? You know, and I got a lot of support to start. And that was it. And I think
back then it was vinyl, right?
it was all vinyl and it was early Serato.
Wow.
So I learned on
very
vinyl
pure.
and early Serato. And I had great mentors. I asked all the questions and, you know, just little by little, I got little opportunities to play at the club, you know, from 8 to 8:30. Oh my gosh, you know, like very cool.
Let's go.
Let's go. So like, I was just like, yeah. And I would practice for months for my one gig. And my first gig was at what's it called? They did Soul Sessions and Firecracker. It's in Chinatown. I don't know why the name escapes me right now. But anyways, I got my first gig and it was from 8 to 8:30. And I practiced my sets so hard for months. And it was just, I don't know, I liked it. It gave me this sense of like, I could perform and I could, you know, create something. And it was unlike no other. And I think by that time too, you know, I had a dance career. Then I moved into a 9-to-5 office job. And the lessons I learned from that were like, if I ever get a chance to perform again for a living and have an artistic career somehow, I will find a way to keep it going before I go back to an office. There's got to be a way, and I'm going to figure it out. And I feel like, you know, just sort of that mentality as I was kind of moonlighting really just kind of you know, kept my momentum going. And I was very aware of the point when I could take the leap again. Yeah. And I could see it. And I did it. It was very hard, but but at least I could see it. And I had the gumption to be like, okay, I'm not gonna go back into time anymore. I'm gonna stay on this side. And we're gonna figure it out. Yeah, we're gonna figure it out. And that was
Especially
really cool.
at the time too, where, you know, DJing is a little bit more popular than it was in those years.
A lot more popular.
So to take that jump is a higher jump than, you know, maybe today.
Right.
Still hard, but yeah.
It doesn't seem like a big leap now, but I think at the time it was. Yeah. It felt very big and momentous for me.
Well, we're glad you did, because the existence of 143 came.
Oh my gosh.
And 143 is super successful R&B party, lasted for a decade. You've guys done, you know, Barcelona, Jakarta, all over the US. I have had many good nights there, memorable
Oh,
or maybe
good.
non-memorable. Who knows?
Yeah,
But what I
me
appreciate
too.
what I appreciate about it is you guys brought back freaking.
Yeah.
Because when in middle school that was banned.
Oh, 100%.
So you guys brought it back. I appreciated that.
Sorry, freaking.
Huh?
freaking.
Freaking. Oh,
like
Please
freakily?
define for
Yeah,
our
freaky-
listeners.
yeah.
So
Oh,
you
yeah.
play like Ghost Town DJs, my boo, and then you would dance with somebody.
You just
But you can't dance very. You were supposed to dance kind of close-ish.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, close for 7th grade.
Yeah, right.
And then,
Far enough where the parents
Yeah.
don't interrupt you.
yeah.
right.
Room for Jesus.
Room for Jesus. Yeah, you got
Understood.
it.
Got it.
So that one, that's what I felt like. That's what I appreciated. But I also was appreciated how the younger generation really accepted the music that we grew up with. You know, because you think it's like the music that we listen to is on Flashback Fridays now, and you would think that maybe it won't be well received, but it is because people love it.
People love it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And you can tell by all the long lines around the corner every time you
It
guys
was
held that venue.
really such a surprise.
Yeah.
Had no expectations for it.
What were some of the early struggles of 143? Like, how did you know? How did you pitch that sound? How did you know it was going to work?
I didn't know it was going to work. I mean,
Yeah.
the early struggle was that I had chosen my new path and I had no money. Like, I decided to DJ full time because I got an opportunity to tour, and the tour led me to New York. But I initially wanted to go to New York to DJ, but also get a job. Like a jobby job in PR or advertising. I move out there, I get a tour opportunity. So I start touring with an artist, amazing experience. Really someone who believed in me at the time and was like, you do not belong behind a desk. You need to be on stage. I said, okay, let's do this. Never got a job. So now I moved to the most expensive city in the country for this moonlighting job that is not making me any money. And I'm like, great, love the leap, love the pivot, don't love this economic circumstance. I need to get my ass home where I can also do this. So I moved home with $40 in my bank account. And I was living with my parents. My mom is so pissed. She was very upset with me. And I was just trying to grind and get a residency. So I got this residency at the new Lock and Key in K-Town. Just opened.
Oh.
Yes.
Nice.
And
Okay.
Wow.
yes, shout out Cyrus.
Lock and Key.
Yeah. So new Lock and Key, speakeasy vibes. They're like, Sam, we would love for you to just be in the booth. And I said, okay, great. Let's do it. I come in with my, my list at the time, which is hip hop. It's got house. It's got a little R&B, but it's, it's cracking. And quickly I was told, we love you. We want to keep you on. I was like, great, because I need some, consistent money. And they're like, but we don't want bass. This was at the time, okay? We're speakeasy. We want to keep it elevated. So we don't want anything bassy, no rap, and no house music. And
This
I was
is
just...
Lock and Key?
Yeah. This is
times
Lock
have
and
changed.
Yeah, this
Oh
is
my
Lock and
God.
Key
Maybe
when it
vault.
first opened, yes. And, I appreciate any sound direction. And I said, okay, this is your art. I'm here to be a vessel here. But I got to do what I got to do. And I said, okay, well, how can I keep this residency? I can't play rap. I can't play house. What do I like that's not bassy and not too but it's a little cheeky? I'm going to play slow jams because that is my way of keeping with their vibe, but also but keeping in line with what makes me feel really good. And it's kind of joke's on you. You asked me not to play anything with a pulse. So here we are. We're going to play some, whatever, Tevin Campbell and Babyface and Brandy and, y'all just gonna have to live with it, and I'll get free drinks with my friends. And that's literally how 143 happened. And we called it 143 because pager code during the day, during my heyday, was everything. Meant I love you. And I was like, this is our chance to play slow jams so loud. And I'll get some money to survive and we'll get free drinks. What do you say?
It's a win-win.
I don't think anyone's gonna like it.
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone was going to like it. And the second it started, everyone who did show up burst into laughter because they were all with their friends in a public place, listening to things like Jodeci, things that you would only listen to with maybe yourself in headphones, or maybe one person that you want to make out with,
Right.
or in your car, or like it's such a personal thing, and all of a sudden it was so public and out loud and a group activity, and I will never forget that visceral first reaction to 143 was just like, oh my gosh, we are listening to H-Town and like Monica. For You I Will, like blasting in this speakeasy in K-Town with our friends. This is so funny. I gotta tell my cousin and our friends and boo 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 boo, and it like lit on fire from the first moment, because I think it was this feeling that had not been felt before. Yeah. And I couldn't even have expected it myself. So I'm just watching and witnessing what I thought was kind of a joke. And to see it received the way it was received was just unlike anything I've ever been a part of. So I think it grew legs right away.
It started at Lock and Key then, right?
Started at Lock and Key. You know, they didn't want to service the bass at the time. So we were like, but we do have, we have low end, and we want...
Monica has bass.
Monica has bass.
Yeah.
Babyface got bass.
Babyface got bass.
So we moved it to Footsies in Highland Park, or Glassell Park, Cypress Park?
Yeah.
Cypress Park.
One of the parks, yeah.
One of those parks. And we were there for a year, and I was like, this is perfect. Maybe 75 people, 100 people line around the block.
Like for your early events?
Yes.
Wow, that's
Since
amazing.
Since day one, because I think it was so word of mouth, and like people were just like, you have to come to this place where we can sing 112 like really loud. I don't know. It was a big kind of dice roll.
Yeah.
But also with zero expectations, and I'm just so happy it happened.
Yeah, that's going against the grain itself, because I think 2013, like 2012, 2014 was when like EDM started getting huge, and that's when people started facing the DJ and kind of just like jumping up and down.
Yes.
So we lost that like that sensual, music vibes.
Like we're here to dance with each other,
Right.
and the DJ's there. It became like this whole like we face the DJ.
Right.
I watched all that happen as I was, going through my DJing as well, and I was just like, people gradually started turning towards the stage, and I was like, this is so bizarre. Like this is not how we started.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because
it's weird. Yeah.
EDM caused that, but then as soon as R&B and hip hop became a little bit more mainstream, a little more popular, the crowd still kind of kept facing that way.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's a little bit more human interaction, but it's kind of interesting how that culture worked out.
Yeah, very interesting. But the timing, I think, was also really key to 143. And I think, the concept, we were just like, fuck it, let's do something that we don't get to do. And I think that's what really will move the needle, culturally speaking,
This is just really fascinating to hear, because we're so used to playing like R&B and stuff at Roslyn. Our place is almost exclusively 92,000s R&B,
amazing.
hip hop, etc. And I've and I've always loved that type of music, because I'm a hopeless romantic, and just like listening to
love.
We love, right?
Music is such a integral component for food.
It is. I think they go hand in hand.
Last year, I got this really amazing opportunity to DJ for Johnny Walker, and they released a Blue Label exclusive, and they did a whole dinner with Chef Kei Kobayashi. He flew in. Okay, so I'm like, okay, yeah. A bitch can make a playlist. I'll DJ, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to DJ the after party. It's cool. And they're like, can you make a playlist? Can you make an additional playlist? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like people walking in, whatever. I, of course, go to the dinner so I can DJ. And they gave me the honor of sitting for this dinner. It was a very exclusive dinner with all these pairings. And he flew in with his team to prepare it, and orchestrated the service and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait, this is my playlist. And it's basically just short of a performance art exhibit of food. And my music's playing, the music I've selected, and I'm like, this is insane. Who did the music?
Yeah.
I did. This is so cool. Like, I don't know that I did not know that I was providing the music for this part of the experience.
Right.
It is so important. Yeah. And I mean, I did a really good job not knowing that this is what I was doing. But I kind of walked away from that dinner like, this was so powerful that I provided part of this sensory experience on this level and on every level, truly. I mean, I think the vibe of like the sound component of the eating and, you know, food and beverage experience is like very, very important. Very cool.
I agree.
But so, yeah, I didn't know that Rosalind was a 90s, 2000s R&B.
It is. I think we're proud. I think we're proud of it.
Very proud of it.
Yeah. We've had numerous times where people were like, yo, can I add you on Spotify? This is a fire playlist. I'm like, sure.
Yeah. What's your DJ name?
So I only do like private events, like for like friends and stuff. I'm not in the circuit or anything. I know friends that are in the circuit, LA circuit, that do lock and key and like terracotta, but I like background music. So I, you know, like to get people to dance, I haven't had that experience yet. I think it'll be fun.
We gotta get you.
Yeah.
It's happening soon.
Yeah.
But
Hook it
see,
up,
I had
Sam.
never
I'm fine.
really done the provided soundtrack for like a dining experience.
Okay.
And so I feel like that's where you and I, you know, differ, but they're
Yeah.
both equally important.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
art.
I like it. I would definitely love to curate something where like I have a dance floor, because I think that's a whole different ball game where you kind of build energy and see if you can not get people to leave.
Oh my gosh, it's a whole psychology. But I want to do more dining.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's cool. That's really cool too. And I feel like that has an art as well.
it does.
Because you don't want to take away from the food.
Right.
You just want to complement it.
Right.
So are we hearing a So Super Sam Rosalind dinner?
Collab.
Yeah, I think
Let's
we
go.
should. Yeah,
Yeah.
all day.
We love it.
Okay, Sam. So I know I mentioned earlier on this podcast, we love to celebrate struggles / failures. Tell us about a time where you fucking failed so bad that you almost made you quit in your DJ / event producer career.
Oh gosh, almost made me quit. Failure.
I feel like you wouldn't even go that far because you're just so positive.
I am a pretty positive person. I like us, you know, she loves a struggle. No, but I think it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Any process and any journey is that's just part of it. You're
Yeah.
going to have some really bummer days. Like I said, 143 did very well from the start, from jump, better than we expected. And we got an opportunity to move the party eventually to Los Globos in Silver Lake. One of my favorites. And we took over the upstairs, and then they gave us the downstairs because the line was so long. And then we had,
That's crazy.
so we were just like bumping. And then they're like, why don't you guys do twice a month instead of once a month? So just double our cadence. And we did that for a few months. And I said, I mean, that it's not a failure. I don't really know if I believe in failures. But that was one of the things that we tried that we were like, actually, this makes my heart hurt. And like this, like actually crushes my soul to do it this often. So I think we're going to have to dial it back to once a month because that feels better. So I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about failure? Do you see a lot of things as successes or failures? I guess that's more of a philosophical question.
Yeah.
Because you could arguably say, like, I failed at finance. But it's like, did you? No. It like opened up it allowed you to pivot. It was like an opportunity for something else.
Very much so. Yeah. I mean, if
So-
had I not done my fintech jobs, I wouldn't be able to have supported Rosalind through its first couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And another thing, I guess something that I've been working on is that, you know, through COVID and becoming a mom recently, I've had different feelings towards DJing and different feelings towards music. And I've shifted my focus a lot into my motherhood and, growing a family and starting a household and really doing the work on myself to adjust to all of these big life changes. And I feel like there is a place where I think you could be like, oh, she failed. Mm-hmm. She failed at DJing. She didn't make it through COVID. And it's like, I think you could definitely look at it that way if you want. That's certainly just not the way I choose to live, though. So
sure, I think for me, when we recognize failures, there's always, like you said, that pivot point. So then you're almost grateful that it happened. And so it's not like 100% negative thing. It's like almost like a teaching point.
Yeah, what's like an inflection point. Like, ooh,
right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I would say,
But I mean, that would be one too, where, the cadence, like it sounds like it became too much like work. Yeah. And then the love kind of like bled out and you're like, okay, well, let's keep it like once a month, right?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I think another big inflection point was to, really pull 143 off of that monthly calendar. We were on the books, on the calendar, the club calendar for 10 years. Just like clockwork. And I think, I had a really good conversation with my business partner last week because we made a collective decision. Like, yes, this will make us money and this, but does it fulfill us in the way that we feel like we're succeeding personally? And have things changed? And the honest answer was, yes, things have changed. Let's pull this party off of the calendar and see how we feel. Because I think, I don't know, I've always done things because I was passionate about them. And if the passion has changed, then we need to go back to the lab and figure out how to pivot or what we can adjust. And so I think that was a big inflection point. Yeah. A big learning moment. And so I think right now we're revisiting what we want to do. Because it might mean 143 is back and it's more, and it's been living as a radio show, which has been hugely fulfilling to my soul.
Well, we'll actually get into that final show and the transition.
Oh yeah. So did you go?
To the final one? No, I didn't.
Okay.
But the merch looks fire.
Oh, the merch is great. Yeah. I'll send you.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh. Today is a dreams come true thing.
Before we get into our favorite dish, we mentioned there wasn't many Asian DJs or maybe even female DJs at that time. Yeah. So what kind of challenges did you have with that, and how did you overcome it? I actually now I come to think of it, it was like DJ Qbert.
Oh yeah.
At the time, but that was it. Like, who did you look towards when you went into a space where it seemed like you were the only one?
That's an interesting question, because I think on one hand, there have always been Filipino DJs. So there was no shortage on, in my family, in my immediate surroundings, right? But in the mainstream of it, right? Yes, very, very uncharted territory for women and for Asians, Asian women, both. So it was difficult. I think that I had to overcome a lot of, stereotyping, like any, minority woman in a workplace. I think that the DJ industry was no exception. It was very hard to be taken seriously. It was very hard to sell this idea that, no, I'm not just a short skirt and a push-up bra. There is a different way that I'd like to present myself as a woman performing. And that took a lot of, belief in myself, I think. And then I think also within music, there were very big and defined lanes of music at the time when I started DJing. You had your purist, your vinyl purists, you had your Serato DJs. That was a huge point of contention back in that time. Yeah. The fact
kind of
that
still is a little bit.
It is, right? A little bit. but yeah, choosing to play both. I would play both, and people were like, what are you doing? And then you had your like purist hip hop heads that were like, we would never play Lil Wayne with, like EPMD. Like, you don't put those two things together. How dare you? That was definitely a thing as well. And then, there was just the whole idea of like playing a club night in Hollywood versus playing Low End Theory, which was for the heads, dubstep purist heads. And like, no, you don't mix worlds. And you certainly don't do it wearing Acne boots. Like, you must wear Jordans and a beanie. And like, if you're gonna be a female DJing, you need to make sure you're wearing like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't wear high fashion. That's just not. And then you're either wearing a bodycon dress or you're dressing like a dude. And there's no room in between. Yeah. And I think that those were all things I faced on a daily basis. And I don't know. I started making my own mixes, and I think that's where I found my lane. Mm-hmm. I was like, no, I want to play Sylvia Striplin, and I want to play DeBarge, but I also want to play Flying Lotus, and I also want to play Solange, and I also want to play this Toro y Moi into Lil Wayne.
Right.
And I was just like, this is what sounds right to me. This is what I can afford on my laptop. And so I'm going to make a mix, and this is what it's going to be. And I really think that that's doing something different is what was sort of the catalyst to me defining just my identity within this very strange landscape at the time. Now it's not so novel to like genre bend, but at the time it was. Yeah. And, I would do it wearing, I would show up to Low End Theory with all these like dub heads wearing Acne boots and like this like cool like Comme des Garçons jacket that just wasn't what anyone was wearing there. But I would also show up in Jordans at the, Hollywood club. And like, I just did whatever I thought was right for me. And it worked out. But I think it became the appeal.
Yeah.
Is be yourself. Yeah.
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 Way to pave that path, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's worked since to that point, so.
Pretty crazy. And then, I think from that point, I want to say at first, women DJs, there weren't very many, and then we were kind of like pitted against each other somehow. So there was that dynamic, very patriarchal. And I remember having a conversation with, a fellow DJ friend of mine, and I was just like, I like you. So wait, don't you like me too? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, so then why? I feel like there's just energy coming from the outside that makes us want to be competitive with each other. Yeah. I feel like that's also something that, society put on women or puts on women, and you have to actively unsubscribe with you and your friends. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to, lend that energy to other fellow female DJs and have it be reciprocated. And I really do think that has changed the tone of women in DJing by a long shot, like in a real way. There's room for all of us. And I think it's spoken to the, people who book that like, oh, we can have Toki Monster and SOSUPERSAM and Kittens and Nudes and all these, and they're all cool. Yeah. Like, so let's just have fun,
right. Yeah. There doesn't need to be just like that one token, just to have it, it's.
Oh my gosh. And this just reminded me of something too back in the day that really just set me off. Just ladies' night was like such a thing before. I don't know. They don't do that anymore because there's so many female DJs. But before it was a marketing thing. Like, oh, we're going to have an all-female lineup.
Oh.
I thought you were.
That was like the 2000, like late 2000s things, right?
I was like, no, like we're not doing that. And as soon as I could have my own party, I would book all women and never talk about it until the landscape changed.
Yeah.
Because, and now that I don't think anyone does that anymore. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of wokeness since then. But like, I mean, back then I was just like, yeah, fuck this. I'm booking all my friends. I'm never going to talk about the fact that they're girls. They're just going to come in and they're going to fucking crush it. Yeah. And that'll be that until it's normal. And I think that was another really big thing that was a challenge. And I think that there was a point in time where I could have been like, yeah, I will cash out on this like very, archaic marketing scheme. Yeah. But I will not participate, and neither will my friends, and I will never do that to them. And since then.
I love that. 143 doing work.
Yeah.
Seriously. Doing the Lord's work. Yeah.
Speaking of doing some work, right? Is it time?
It's time. I think it's time.
It's time for me to go ahead and get your next dish ready. It is called the favorite dish here at Roslyn. It's something that is about to premiere coming up, and I know that you love duck, so we have a very special dish on the way for you. So
okay.
I'll be right back.
I'm a duck guy.
Yeah.
Let's bring it. Let's do it.
One of the things that we've learned about you is you're a duck guy.
Kind of a duck guy.
So we wanted to showcase some absolutely beautiful duck from Mary's. We were just talking about it earlier.
She does duck too.
She does do duck.
And chickens.
Yes.
And soon to be pigeons.
Yes. We'll do a collab with them also. Yes. The duck here is a beautiful Mary's duck breast. It has been kombu cured and dry aged in our fridge. We have a special dry aging fridge in the back here at Roslyn. So the skin should be extra crispy. There's a little bit of umami aromatics from there. The sauce though is our new sauce that's premiering this week. It is a rendition. I know it's brand new.
Sauce premiere?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes.
We love the enthusiasm. I love it.
I'm fucking pumped.
I've actually never heard of a sauce premiere either.
This is a sauce premiere, guys. We take persimmons are at end of season, so they're very jammy and sweet. And so what I made was a fire roasted persimmon sauce with passion fruit and yuzu. Okay. And it's been blended and blitzed in, so you're gonna taste that natural sweetness of the jam. There's no sugar that's been added. It's literally the persimmon and its natural sweetness. The brightness comes from the passion fruit and the acidity from the yuzu. Fresh mint adorns it to kind of take some of that extra kind of herbaceousness and that minty freshness in there. But please enjoy it. The duck skin should be perfectly crisp, and it's cooked to a medium rare, so that's how it should be.
That's exactly how I prefer it.
Yeah. Highly recommend having us go ahead and cut a piece of duck, but have a small sip of the red wine first, and then dip the duck into the sauce, and you're going to get all the worlds of the sweetness, the smokiness, the duckiness, all the jazz.
Ducky.
So please enjoy.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Shab.
Oh, that's a good red wine.
This sauce premiere though.
The sauce premiere. Yes, it's a sauce premiere.
It's premiering.
It's very sweet.
The skin is nice crunch.
I don't know what it is about duck that makes me such a duck guy, but it's so special. I think it's so special. It's not so gamey. I think ducks have a lot of meat, good fat content. I think it's just such a treat too.
It is.
Can you tell us about that moment when you said to yourself like, holy shit, this can take off, and I told you so, mom?
I think for her, I got a residency at Soho House, which
LA.
was really cool.
Oh, which one?
In LA, the WeHo one.
Nice.
And I think for her, that validated everything for some reason.
Is she a member? Or?
No. She's like, yes, finally, my people. No, I think when I was able to tell her, like, Wesley Snipes was there when I was DJing, and she's like, wow, tell me more. My daughter's a DJ. Like, I feel like it became a really tangible for her and really understandable. Yeah. Whereas, like, I think prior to that, it was such a large and vague concept. I know a lot of creatives have a lot of trouble going home for the holidays and explaining to their relatives what they do, right?
Yeah. You get the lecture, I think.
Yeah, you're like, they're just like, you just see the question mark floating over their head when you're like, no, I'm an event producer. I produce commercials. They're like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, you know, so, you know, I think for me, it became very understandable to my mom when I had that. Of course, like I was getting paid like $100 or something. It was like very not lucrative, but in my mom's eyes, it was very validating.
Yeah.
And I think for her, that was when she was like, okay, yes, if Wesley Snipes is listening to my daughter DJ, she must know how to DJ. She must have a job, you know?
Do better, Soho. No kidding.
That's okay. They got to do what they got to do.
No,
but I think, you know, it's interesting what really is validating for a parent. But if it set her at ease, you know, that was it, you know. And then, you know, as soon as I was able to have my own health insurance, I think she was like, okay.
Yeah. That was the main thing, probably.
I think that was the main thing. Because she literally was like, listen, if you break your arm, I am not paying for it. Yeah. Like, I cannot pay for it. So you better find a way to cover your ass, literally. And I was like, respect. Okay, I will figure it out. Meanwhile, you know, like I'm just going to be out here in this world. And you know, from that Soho House situation, I was able to, I think it was one of the first times I could really invite her to something that was like appropriate for parents. And she was able to come and like they wined and dined her and she was able to see me in this like very, you know, elevated setting. And I think that solidified it for her. From that point on, she's been really open-minded and very encouraging. But yeah, it does take a couple of those, you know, gigs like that where they're like, okay.
That's a win.
That's a win.
That's a win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Never mind, you know, if I get booked for a festival in like Berlin, she's like, I don't know what that means. Like, that's scary. Like, do you have health insurance? You know, those types of things. Those are not very impressive to the mom, but yeah.
I want to go back to 143.
Okay.
So last year around May, you had posted this appreciation / farewell like letter to everyone that kind of partook in 143, whether they helped set it up or the party goers. Can you speak a little bit more about what led up to that and what was kind of going on emotionally for you? Just because, you know, it was a decade-long thing. It was your baby. Speak on that a little bit. Yeah,
I think it was a long time coming. It was really hard for me to wrap my head around. And I think the sentiments are all true. It exceeded any of my expectations. It was this beautiful canvas that I didn't know I had at the time, but I ended up with it in my hands and I was able to create. When you come from a childhood that is prescribing something's very traditional, and then all of a sudden you're granted this opportunity and this sort of North Star that is overwhelmingly like, yes, and yes, you can do that. Yes, let's do it. I think that's what 143 was for me. You know, everything that was like our wildest whims and our, you know, craziest dreams, we would speak it and then speak it into existence.
And then Cisco would show up.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. You know, I grew up in a headspace where it's like you can have these funny thoughts and these dreams or silly ideas, but that is what they are. They are silly ideas and they are not real. Mm-hmm. And 143 made everything so real to me and so vivid. And that was the first thing I was like, wouldn't that be so fucking funny if we had Cisco do backflips into the middle of 143 and like start singing thong song? And yeah, I was like, haha. And like my business partners were like, well, should we call him? And I'm like, Yes.
It's the
And-
why not?
Why not?
Yeah, it was the why not. Yes, 143 was my why not. And I was able to get health insurance at the same time. Wow. Like it just really hit on so many cylinders. We hit a place where we're like, anything can happen at 143. And truly anything could happen because we could dream it and then we could bring it. And it was awesome. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you transition to 143 Radio. What was the inspiration for that, and like what did you want for that to become after such a giant like the party?
Yeah, I really wanted to experiment again. I wanted something with very low expectations. I wanted that rawness, and to me, it has been this very personal postpartum bliss for me. Entering motherhood during COVID was very jarring. It was so counterintuitive to anything that I had ever done leading up to that point. And it really took me out of my elements. But it also showed me what I'm capable of, like even more dimensions. It revealed to me more dimensions about myself.
Yeah.
And I think that is like just truly magical. So 143 Radio is an extension of that. I did feel a bit awkward going back to the club after COVID and having an infant and in my postpartum body and my hormones and all the things. Felt awkward, and I wanted to create like a little cocoon for my joy. And 143 Radio has been that. It's been this way to really transfer the DNA of 143, which to me is creating a warm connection, bringing in friends, sharing music and food and conversation, and DJing. The mechanics of DJing and creating blends of music and listening loud. So all of those elements, like bringing them into like a format that made sense to this latest version of me, my new iOS, right? I'm in a different operating system. I need to operate before 10 p.m. To feel my best. And that's what that is. It's this like beautiful incubator, and it kind of brought me back to life. I was like, I'm able to connect with other people and learn things and taste food and listen to music again and do my job that I know how to do, but in this new way. So yeah, it's been a really nice way to like enter back into my creativity.
What I love about you, just even talking about how you're talking about food and music and everything, is one thing I've learned through this podcast specifically is how the creative mind kind of blends together into this beautiful magic. And it's something that we don't really get to really appreciate until you're in that moment and you're like, wow, like I can see how music can really foster a experience and a vibe for food, and vice versa, how the dish can complement the music that you're playing.
Yeah.
And I think it's just so cool because like you've been able to do that for us, and I can't wait to see like what you do with us as well. But like with your Johnny Walker pop up and stuff,
big love languages. Yeah,
like,
a big connective point.
Because when you were talking about that, it just made me remind me of like my middle school, high school days where you would burn someone a CD to show your love to them, and now for me, it's making food for them instead.
Yeah, that's the sauce.
Well, speaking of food, I think it's a good segue. Chef, we have one more course for Sam here.
Yes, we do. So this is what we call the final bite. It is the most decadent, intricate, layered dish, and it's designed to kind of cap you off for this podcast. And it's something that we do at Roslyn as well. So I'll be right back, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks.
Cannot wait.
Yep. I'll make this one quick.
Sam, you mentioned that like your, I guess, perspective on music maybe changed during COVID and also in the process of becoming a mom. Could you talk more about that? Like how, what does music mean to you now?
Gosh, I don't, that's a good question. I mean, I think it's evolved, but there was a point in time where I was like, literally, I think newborn stage and coming back from COVID. And I was just like, I don't want to listen to rap. I don't like the messaging. I don't like the, exploitation of women. I mean, I was a very sensitive, and I think to some degree, I still am very sensitive. I think I'm a lot more intentional about what I want to listen to and what the message is and the vibe. I think I've also like unlocked a lot of like inner peace, and I want to feel calm and I want to feel positive. So I lean into music that fits and aligns that way. So that's something I've had to reconcile with, just like, well, does that make me not very cool then?
Right.
I don't know. But I have to do me. So, but in the same way, I just think that there's also a lot of like, just discovery points in watching a small human hear things for the first time and what songs they gravitate towards as, early listeners, and what type of music and musicianship I want to expose my child to in these early stages. So there's a lot of beauty there too. I think it's a lot of reverting back to the classics and singer-songwriters who write their own music and play their own instruments. I think there's something beautiful about that, and sharing that process with, a young person, showing them what they could be capable of.
For sure.
It's just interesting, the lens, I think, looking at or listening to music as a parent. You're like, was that bad word necessary?
Yeah.
Probably not. Like, you could have said fudge or something.
You're totally a parent right now.
I
You're
know,
totally
you're
a
like,
parent
oh,
right
this is
now. When my mom found out like my cassette tape of Crazy Sexy Cool, mom was like, "What is that?"
Right?
I was like, "It's just music. I swear." Yeah.
Then it's not.
I know.
I know.
I didn't know
I
better.
know.
It just sounded good.
I know.
But playing off the motherhood role, I'm sure your life is a lot more like hectic, chaotic in a good way. There's another layer of your life you kind of have to tackle.
Sure, yeah.
What more does So Super Sam want to give to the world?
Yeah. Still warm connection. I think that's something I want to do. I don't know exactly
Through extra projects or
through extra projects. I'm still experimenting with what that means. I mean, music is definitely an anchor, but I think that there's so many possibilities. I'd love to write. I'd love to speak. And create warm connections there. Another outlet for me, aside from 143 Radio, has been to start a Substack newsletter. It's called the Sam Report. And that's really where I've like leaned into a lot of my domestic concerns and like the way I approach, motherhood, the way I approach household and family. Because I'm very into like schedules and like systems and operations and keep, tidiness and like really staying organized throughout all the different sort of missions that being a mom is. During my journey through pregnancy and motherhood, I received a lot of support and a lot of wisdom from other friends. And I really want to pass that on and share that through my like kind of neurotic lens of like how I over research and overthink. Like I will do the overthinking so you don't have to is kind of my MO with my Substack. And so I put that out every week, and it's been a really nice outlet as a double Virgo, just to like, here's a spreadsheet you might want for your, garage storage or like,
oh my God, I love that.
Yeah, check it out.
This is the final bite. It is a Hokkaido scallop, and because you've never been to Roslyn before, I wanted to showcase one of our flagship sauces, which is a cilantro, Sichuan peppercorn roasted scallion chimichurri. So you're taking a lot of the Cantonese, Chinese-inspired flavors, and this is our CPG version that we're calling Yeet Hei, which is a Cantonese-inspired name and flavor that Heidi's been helping us with. Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks,
So
Heidi.
a lot of flavors. Smoked ocean trout roe adorns it. You have a duck fat fried scallop with duck fat fried garlic as well. So there's just a lot of elements, and it should be perfectly cooked. So please enjoy.
Wow, this looks amazing.
Little fried garlic on top.
It is a fried garlic in duck fat.
Beautiful. Oh my.
This is very good.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I like the signature sauce. There's like a good smoke to it, and then a heat at the end.
And that comes from the Thai chilies. that are slowly roasted in there. We don't want it to be overwhelming. And then you get a hint of the green peppercorns that we have that kind of bring a little bit of acidity to it.
Yeah.
The roe is nice on it.
Yeah.
The roe is really nice on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
On your show on 143 Radio, you do the segment called Show and Tell, where you have your guests
Oh, we have to get you guys on.
Bring-
Oh my gosh.
their own track, R&B track that they love at the time, or is like just they goated. So we're gonna do our version, except that we're gonna ask you to
Sing it.
no, but will you
Pantomime it.
three top 3 all-time R&B songs and why? The why can be really quick
Okay, this is a big question.
because you always ask, but I don't think you ever contribute. So
I don't.
No,
Because
it's like a
it's
secret.
It is a secret. Because I don't.
Not
maybe
today.
because I don't know the answer. I don't know.
Off the top.
How do I choose? First reactions. Aaliyah, 1 in a Million.
Yes, that's mine.
Okay. Oh, it is.
Yes, it is.
So I answered right.
There are no right answers.
That was the right answer.
That
was
was right.
my vein was a little bit. Anyways,
Okay. Spend My Life with You.
good
Tamia,
choice.
Eric Benet. I
What's the
love
song that
that
goes,
song. It's like a good.
Oh, I do
she
know
can
that.
sing.
Yes.
Of course. Of course you know it. It's a good song.
Song.
And then what's number 3?
And then number 3. Although we go
Oh, that's Boys to Men.
to the end of the road.
It's called On the Road.
Boys to Men.
Yeah.
On the Road.
That was like my first CD. Boys to Men 2 was my first
was a good
album.
album.
Oh man, there's so many good songs though. It's hard to pick.
You picked 3 already.
I did
It's out
pick
there.
3.
No.
Now it's official.
Oh fuck.
Send shop.
I have about 34 songs that I can think of that could also be. Oh, SWV Week. Maybe Penultimate.
Week is good too.
Week by SWV is by far one of the best songs ever written.
That is a good
And
one.
Rain.
Ooh, Rain is good too.
SWV Rain.
But that's like putting too much stock in them. 2 songs out of the 3.
I don't know. SWV. Strong.
Very
Strong,
strong.
and they don't get enough play at the club.
Not weak.
Yeah, strong.
Yeah.
Weak is not weak.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us and hanging out with us. We're super
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
so much. I had the best time.
Hopefully you're full and a little bit tipsy.
Very tipsy.
But also thank you for what you do for R&B music.
oh gosh,
A lot of
yeah.
people appreciate
Thank
that.
you. That means a lot to
wholeheartedly,
me.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up.
It does. Yeah.
Well, you guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to have all of
Absolutely.
you here. Heidi, Jasper.
Wait, are you closing this?
I know what's happening right now.
This has been the 8th episode of the Durian Podcast with me, So Super Sam.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, you and you. Popcorn.
I'm David,
And I'm Jasper.
And I'm hiding.
and this is another episode of the Durian Pod. Till next time, guys. Peace. If you guys enjoyed that episode of the Durian Pod, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. You can find us on all platforms where you normally listen to your podcasts. See you there.